My name is Martin Matter with the Witness to War Foundation. It is March 26, 2014, and we are in Black Mountain, North Carolina. I'm sitting with Mr. William Dailey, Dailey, who served in the Pacific Theater of World War II in the 164th Infantry Regiment, North Dakota Regiment, Americal Division. How are you doing today, William?
Yeah,
Good. My first question is, where are you from originally?
I'm from Hayesville, North Carolina. Used to be, called it Shooting Creek, and they moved the post office to Hayesville.
And could you tell me about your life before you joined the military?
Well, I started working early in my life. Just went to the 8th grade in school, and I started sawmill work, farming. I first done farming when just a boy, and I worked at a few different places, and this before I was drafted, I hired in at Fontana Dam, and there where I was called to the Army at. Yeah.
And tell me about your family. Did any of them serve in the military before you?
I had a half brother that served in the Marines, but he is older than me.
And was that during World War II?
During World War II.
So when you were called up for the Army, did you know anyone else who was called up at the same time?
Yeah, I know about the whole bunch that's called up. There's 43 from Hayesville. About all 18-year-olds just come 18, passed for it. They turned 7 down. Yeah, that was in March in '43.
Now, did you have any choice in which branch you got put into, or did you choose the Army?
I went to Camp Croft, drafted there. Then I went I passed, then went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And they shipped me out there to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And there's where this took 7 months training. And a bunch of us boys, where they put us in rank, they'd holler, we'd just go every which way. And you talk about for the staff sergeant, he'd take a thing in, and just go every which way. Yeah.
Tell me about your training at Fort Jackson.
That training was hard. That was 8 hours a day. And there, I thought, I guess it might have been just me, I thought they kept me on KP a lot, but it's every whip stitch I'd get a call for KP. And nobody likes it much, at that time.
Were you doing anything to deserve that, or was that just chance?
Sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. They just like to call me, I believe.
Were you a bit of a troublemaker?
No, I just kept quiet.
And in Missouri, tell me about your training there.
Missouri?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we trained, we had, every day, just about it. Well, off on Saturday, Sunday,
Do you have any outstanding memories from Missouri?
Yeah, I have several from it. Yeah.
Well, feel free to share.
They'd take you out and give you talks, and then we'd have a forced hike, and I forgot, I think it's 20 some miles we had to walk. We'd be a marching, you know. A lot of times fellas fall out, they'd just go on and medics come along behind him, pick him up, yeah. It's hot down there in Fort Leonard Wood, in a cold place in the winter.
And what was the most difficult part about training for you?
I guess it was at marching, 'cause I couldn't walk straight hardly. I had a wobble in my walk. That was the hardest thing. Yeah.
So where did you go when you left Missouri?
They loaded us up and got on the train, went to San Francisco, California. Yeah, and then we loaded up in San Francisco, went under the Golden Gate Bridge, and zigzagged across Pacific, and Moore Maxine, the name of the boat was, had just about 800 on it, and went to New Caledonia. Took 14 days, I believe it was, night way we went. And went, you know, we shipped them out various to different places. And they shipped me out from there to Fiji Island. That's where I joined the 164th Infantry. And I'd been there about maybe a week, maybe two, and looked out and see three or four coming up a hill for Barrett's Bay. One of them was Max Anderson from Hayesville, or from Shooting Creek. It was Shooting Creek at that time. And I knowed him, you know. I'd known him all his life about it.
So what'd you do when you saw him?
I was tickled to death. I was tickled, yeah. I was surprised to see him, yeah.
And then what'd you do after that?
Well, we trained there for, I forget how long it was. It was them fellers, them North Dakota men. They'd been in Guadalcanal, and they knowed the rope. About all of them. Wasn't too many of them left after the Battle of Guadalcanal.
And what did they tell you about what sort of warfare was going on?
They tell us about it and learn us to survive out on our own, you know, if we got lost or something. And they was good to us when we went over there, sure was. Now back in the States, they were rough on us, taking that basic training. And that was all in the same year, 43.
And you were still on New Caledonia. Any specific memories?
Yeah, I remember climbing a mountain. They had a little old ridge. Well, we'd call it a ridge, but wanting us all to climb it. I remember it, yeah. We didn't stay there long, New Cal.
Where'd you go after New Caledonia?
I went to Fiji Island. I told you that just a minute ago.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, you got my Fiji Island, yeah.
And any memories from Fiji? Was that?
Yeah, we them natives there, and I was trying to think of the name of that town there. Not Dumageddon, but Suva. Suva was the name of the town. It was a nice little town to be wartime.
What do you remember about Suva?
I remember I went to the theater there and watched the movie, and I remember natives there. Yeah, yeah, they had big old fellas, you know.
Do you recall what movie you saw?
Yeah.
Which one?
I can't recall it. I mean the name of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I can't recall it.
And how long did you stay in Fiji?
Probably stayed I believe stayed about 2 months. I don't know. Something like that. Wasn't too long. Then we loaded up in a convoy. Well, they had one regiment on one ship, or no, one battalion, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and went to Guadalcanal, out in Solomon Islands. Stayed in the harbor there 2 days. I could see land, you know, but never got off a boat. And they're still fighting on Guadalcanal. And then I reckon that was the time that Carroll Sea battle was going on. And we left there and moved to Bougainville, out in the northern Solomons. That was Christmas Day, 1943. And we unloaded there, or we landed, and I forget where the 1st Marine Division, or 3rd Marine Division, we relieved. And we marched up that highway, hit the Nat Book, the highway, when I heard the first gunfire on, they called it a highway, you know, but that sand hit packed down just as smooth. It was just like, yeah.
And what did it sound like?
It sound just as smooth, drive like cement over it, yeah. But we marched up that highway. Violent, it had Bougainville, I believe it's 120 miles long and 30 miles wide. And Marines had, and the 37th Infantry Division had a horseshoe perimeter, 10 miles, you know, just like a horseshoe. But anyway, it went out as first, 10 miles, and there's a hole in that, and they had an airport right in the middle of that, big airport. And that's where we got up first night, right behind the front lines, where was artillery shells. They didn't cease all night long. Our shells, and the Japs every once in a while, the Japanese, I'm not calling them Japanese, would shell us, you know.
Did you ever come close to getting hit?
Oh yeah, not one time, but dozens of them. Yeah. Then next morning we relieved the Marines up there, and you know, biggest part of us, this 18-year-old, them fellers been there a long time. That night, we had foxholes about every 8 or 10 foot apart, and there's 3 men stayed in each one of them, and had an opening, you know, out the front to shoot. But they got to hit something, you know, in the brush front of it. I heard the shooting start a way off, you know, and they'd come just a little closer, no matter what, it got right at it. That machine gun right kind of above me, kind of shooting over my foxhole, you know, going. But you talk about getting eat out the next morning, we did with the first sergeant. You don't hear of that no more. Them men that been there, they crawled us back foxhole as they could crawl. They never showed out. It's dangerous to get out, you liable to got shot.
Could you hear those bullets flying above your head?
Yeah. And yeah, I stood guard that night, I guess, 6 or 8 times. I was supposed to stand 2 hours at a time, but there's 3 of us. Now we stayed there. We set that line up, stayed there till that was next day after Christmas when we went into foxhole. We stayed there till June in them foxholes. And they're supposed to attack us 8th day of March, Japs was. I forget how. See, they owned the rest of the island. And they did. But it happened to not hit right where I was at, but they shelled artillery on the front line and behind it, that airport back there, you know. And of a night, a lot of times, little plane, and well, they call it Lonesome Charlie or washing machine Charlie 1. Go over and bum. It'd try bumming that airport and did, you know. And them tracers are going up and ours shooting at that airplane. Looked like fireworks going on. You could see them, yeah, from where I was at.
Were they doing that to keep everybody awake?
No, I was shooting at the enemy plane.
No, were the Japanese flying those planes over at night?
They'd bum it, yeah. They bummed it, yeah. That bum it, yeah. And there's a volcano on that island. Well, there's 2 on it, but from where I was at, it was acting volcano. You could see the blazes come out of it every morning. Just break of daylight, yeah. That ground, every once in a while had sandbags stacked up in front of it. That ground did shake, you could see it shaking.
Now, did the Japanese ever let up on the attack, or were you just always under fire?
They kept it going to up about June, I guess it was. I believe that's when we come out of Foxhole, June. And we'd go on patrols out in front of the front lines, and then we'd go combat patrols. There's 12 of us went on a reconnaissance patrol and went out, got kind of lost, but probably got out 10 miles. And we got out Hill 250. Our planes was a scraping and bumming, you know. And we got out far enough to they scraping right over our head. That's scary. And then they'd scrape, and about 200 or 300 yards, they'd drop their bums. Yeah. Then that same patrol, we went on and heard the brush crack, and there's one colored regiment in the infantry, and there's a hole there where a bum had hit, and all 12 of us got in that hole. It's a bit, you could drop the car in it. And there's a colored guy come out, and that, you know, is friendly troops. Then as we went back, got back, place out there where about, I guess it's 15 or 18 Japs is dead. They'd been there. You talk about something, a smell, but that smell hit. It would make you sick in there. they'd bummed them or something, scraped them. Airplanes had airplane. Now Hill 260, I was on Bogensville. It was just clear with, where they'd cleared it off, and Hill 250 was, and the Turkana River run that right down the side of them. Yeah. And but then we stayed there. Then after that, we set up tents down at the bottom of it. I was on Hill 608 and moved down to the flat and set up tents and we trained. We didn't exactly train. We relieved the 37th Infantry Division what they had, and we patrolled 37th Infantry Division. But for the rest of the time we stayed there, and yeah.
And what did they look like when you came to relieve them? Were they pretty torn up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now Bogensville was jungle. You just about had to take a machete and cut your way through there. They pushed out to the foot of a volcano. That foot, I remember. I got on a patrol that went out there, and there's a pretty good sized little creek coming from it. And that water was so warm you couldn't stay in it over 10 or 15 minutes. We was out on that patrol. I know we washed in it, took a bath, 15 minutes. Yeah. We pushed out 20 miles or whatever, yeah.
You weren't able to bathe very often, were you?
No, you didn't bathe. Now, there on Bogensville, we're at the top of that ridge, where we held that front line. After we went, they let their beard grow out for about 4 or 6 months, I guess, and everybody let it grow out. And down there on the side of the hill, we had a pipe running out of spring. That's where we all took baths and got our water at. Yeah, they just wash every which way.
Now, was anybody getting sick, or?
They got sick of malaria. Yeah, we took a little pill, Adderall. I meant to see you take that, and I never took malaria while I was over there, but after I come home about 2 months, I took it. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy how you got all the way back home and then got malaria.
Yeah. Now if we slept on the outside of a night, we'd sleep in mosquito nets, we called them, yeah. Then, yeah. Yeah, that Bogensville was natives there. They wasn't civilized, They had a place. They gathered, one to come down on our side, they gathered them all up and put them in that place, yeah. But I never was on the other end of it while I was there, and I stayed 12 months, yeah, on that island.
Do you have any memorable experiences with the natives there?
I didn't have too much. I had just, stayed away. I had a few of her pictures there at the house, but they gave it, most of them they gathered up, so we wouldn't get killed, fighting between one line and another. But they shelled that place something awful. Yeah, I had them. We hit it was hill between hill 600 and 250. We were on a combat mission up hit, and our shells went in about 200 yards of where we was at, in front of us to push it.
Could you feel the detonation when they hit?
Yeah, that's shelling the Japs, yeah. They'd bust them tree busts, you hear them go through that.
Did that scare you that you were running right
That's
into the
scary,
line of...
yeah. Yeah, when you first got on the front line, you hear tell a hair rising on your head, but it was right.
Did anybody ever get hit by friendly artillery fire?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Anybody you know?
Yeah, then they got hit on them patrols too. Going out and see what you can find. Now we had an outpost out in front of the front line, and 2 or 3 men went out hit and sat on head of a morning. In case the Japs started in, to let everybody know it. But you didn't have no chance out there if they did. Yeah. Now on Bougainville, where they Japs attacked the front lines, I wasn't at the place, but what they told me, they took about 15 of our foxholes. I could hear from where I was at, I could hear a machine gun fire. Bamboo, we had wire in front of a line, tag them in, and little clips of ammunition, little bells in them. And they'd take bamboo and throw in that water, spread it apart. All of them would try to come through. That machine gun sitting back there, they'd just pile up. They just keep coming, yeah. That machine gun. And I was at the place where later on patrol, and there's so many bones on the ground so you couldn't walk without stepping on the bone. Human, yeah.
What other sort of things did you see as a result of the combat on the island?
Whatever thing I see.
Yeah, what other things did you see as...
I rode.
What other sort of things did you see on Bougainville as a result of the combat?
I was on that hill too, 208, and airport down, valley, it a big airport, and they'd boom them over islands from there, Saipan and Carolina Island. And I was watching P-38, you know what a P-38 plane is? I counted 82 of them in the air from there at that time. And yeah. It would. Then I watched them from that hill where I was at, watched them ship, destroyer, throw shells in on the island where there's on the beach of it. You see the beach, yeah. Quite a bit on that island. We set up in them tents down there after we left the foxholes up there, and it's a pretty good place, but you had to go on these patrols where we relieved the 37th Infantry. Just about had the whole island at that time. Yeah, there's still Japs there though, up on the other end of it. To start with, we just had 10 miles out. Japs had the rest of it. Yeah.
What's the closest you ever came to a Japanese soldier?
Well, that was in the Philippines. That wasn't on Bougainville.
Well,
I
on
come,
Bougainville,
I
how close
come
did you
6
come?
or 8 feet of him. And close enough to tell you how long the beard was on their face.
Did you have to engage in hand-to-hand
That
combat?
that was in the Philippines.
That was in the Philippines.
Yeah.
We'll get there in a minute. Tell me about the last couple days of Bougainville.
Well, it was pretty good. We did last pretty good there. We wasn't on no patrols or nothing, you know. But we relieved that Marine Division, then Australians relieved us from Bougainville. They took over from there.
Had your
That-
unit suffered a lot of casualties when you got
Yeah.
relieved?
Yeah, I forget how many casualties were. That book's got it in it there, how many on Bougainville. I've got a book, our history of Americal Division, and it's got it all in it. Got a day you fit, battle you fit, and everything. And it's got my name in it too.
So after you were relieved, where did you go? When you were relieved from Bougainville, where did you go?
We went to Worcester. I guess we went to where it was hand to hand, more hand to hand fighting. See, we mopped up on. I'll go on to. I'll tell you this. We got. It'd come 1945, and we loaded up and went to New Guinea. Then we went from New Guinea to Leyte in the Philippines. That's where MacArthur landed, you know. Logan.
And anything memorable about New Guinea or Leyte?
No, I was in the harbor. I remember seeing land, but I never was on land.
Well, tell me about when you arrived in the Philippines and what was going on when you got there.
It was peaceful where I unloaded, and stayed there one night and got on the truck. Next day went to, I can't remember them town's name, went to Ormoc, at the other side of Olive, and stayed all night there. And there, me and another, we set up camp. Me and another fella, we come down pretty late. We slipped off this little old, I forget the name of a town down there. We slipped off and went down there, side with Hunter's girlfriend there in the Philippines, you know. And so we went. So about 10 or 11 o'clock, there's a bunch of Filipino soldiers come in where I was at there. I got scared and got out and hunt the other fella up. We would come home. We slept off, nobody knowing where we was at. Had our guns and everything, ammunition. At that time, I was assistant. No, I believe I was VA Army that time, Brown and automatic rifle. And we made it all right there. Now these other places, at Ormoc, where we loaded up and hit it for a push across. I forget the name of a little old place. We pushed through to the beach. Took five days or 6 to get through. We hit several Japs on the way, you know. And on the way over, got through to the beach and had one man killed, and I believe it's 2 or 3 wounded there. And that's the first helicopter I ever see. There wasn't many in World War II. And they called him into that helicopter to take the wounded out. We couldn't get no ration in there or nothing but boat. So we didn't have nothing to eat for about 3 days there.
How large were the Japanese forces you encountered on your way to the beach?
Do what?
How large were those Japanese forces you encountered?
Well, they wasn't too about. I believe I seen 6 in one bunch, and I was the only one shot at them. I shot over these other fellas' heads at them, but I shot at them as they was running from us,
And you had your BAR?
I had a BAR, yeah.
And how many men were with you?
There's a whole company, 200 probably, had a line, and I was about the middle of them hills, go down, and I shot over them. I was getting out of the way, and I never did see them no more. Went on across the top and hit them again over there, yeah. And we went to this beach, or I forget the name of it, it's in that book. And coconuts there and stuff. But and I've got a picture of that in it too. Then there's a hill right above it. That's where we took our stand at, on a hill protecting that beach there. In about 3 days, they set up a mess hall there. We'd come off of that. It's about a mile off of it to a mess hall. And there, Jap got a chow line there one night. We killed. They claim I shot him, but the other fella killed him, yeah.
And you don't remember the name of this beach?
Huh?
You don't remember the name of this place?
I can't remember it. It's got a name there. There wasn't no Filipinos there or nothing, It just little. We set a stand up on the hill there, and we go down there for breakfast, and when we was there, well, we go for dinner, supper too if we was there, but we made about 3 or 4 pushes out of there, there's a big hill over where the Japs had retreated, and we'd go, as a claim as a general over there. They was wanting to go get him. And we headed out it's about 4 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, push, went as far as we could, 4 daylight. And about 10 o'clock, I see the first one Jap back up in the field. We just went on. And there's a ridge there. And we took that, they set up a machine gun on the bottom to cover it. And we took that ridge there, and Japanese in the foxhole hollering, throw the hand grenade in, that was the last of his holler. Yeah, I believe it. I believe he killed 22 Japs in that hill. Yeah, and Company C was right over to the left, right of us. I looked over there and I didn't see a man. Just in a few minutes after we took that hill, they popped up all over it. And it was down low, wasn't it? Then we pushed on up higher up, and then we went up there. And up there was we run into the Japs up there crossing a little hill there, then down to a stream. And we see 2 or 3 Japs there. Naturally, they was going to go get them, you know. And they, I had a BAR at that time, about 20 feet. One stuck his head up his beard. He had red beard about that long. I made him put his head back down. I had a BAR, and under a coconut leaf, there's one got under them, not coconut leaf, but banana leaf, got under it, and platoon sergeant and another fellow, they went up through there, and that and threw a hand grenade at them from out from under that banana leaf. It hit one of them, Scrappling, and the other, and it didn't hit him. Then we backed up, and we dug a little foxhole about that deep. You could lay down in them, you know. And machine gun from that high ridge opened us at us. You talk about getting close in that foxhole, but I got close in it. That dirt on top of it, just off on your back. Yeah.
Then what'd you do after that?
Well, we stayed there. I stayed in that foxhole that night. And next morning, they pulled 12 of us off to go down this, head down the hill, and there's a branch down there. And back up is more or less a sled trail or wagon trail. And on an ambush, Japs and they come down that trail, get water of a night, most of it from 11 to 5 o'clock in the morning. And we set up there to ambush them. And sure enough, first night, here they come. First ones I heard, I was out kind of hid in the bush at a tarpaulin, or not, one of them laid down to sleep on, you know. And I come up a trail, I heard them coming. Just in a minute, I heard them that close start shooting, you know, shooting at them. They run about 10 foot below where I was at, but I never did shoot. But I had assistant BARman and helped me tote the ammunition. I just raised up and looked at him. He did too, but he was shaking. That was his first night on the front line. I know it was hard on him. It was hard on me too, but harder on him, I guess it was me, because I'd been used to it. Yeah. So we moved. No, I believe we stayed there 2 nights. We moved up a little further on the hill, and about 11 o'clock that night, I could hear, it's dark that night, you couldn't see your hand in front of you. I heard something. I was right still, kept hearing it, getting a little closer, and I let him get up in about 8 feet. I'm just roughly guessing. Might have been a little closer, might have been, but before a shot. And I had that BAR, it'd shoot 20 times, just hold trigger down. But I just shot 3 times. I shot and I hit him, but it didn't kill him, you know. And he got to mourning. He crawled over a bank and mourned all night long. They called from a company that went on just a little ahead. Won't know what is happening down there. They told him I was killing Japs. So, yeah. Yeah. Then on that same place, Japs come down above us. I don't know what they had. It sounded like it was setting a machine gun up, right above us. And they must not never got it set up. They never did shoot at it. But they shot at us with a rifle, There was just 12 of us. And there's either 14 or 15 dead Japs when we left along that trail.
And did the guys trying to set up the machine gun, did they hit anybody when they started firing
You
down?
could hear them, but you couldn't. But that's all I ever heard. It was during the night, yeah. Must not have gotten work, yeah.
And did y'all lose anybody, or did anybody get injured?
Nobody got injured on that. We're lucky on that. Yeah.
And so what happened after you went up that trail?
They pulled us back out, pulled us back to the top of this ridge, where I was telling you about. Then we stayed there about a week, and went up. They put us on another, and we went up. I don't know just exactly what they got a name for it, what place. Anyway, took a hill, went on up, run into Japs, and they was shooting from both sides. And some of the fellas let the BAR get away from them, and they killed their buddy, with them BARs get away from him. And they killed her buddy. They pulled me and some more up a trail. There's one on this side crying, and one on that side of it crying, what killed her. But went on to the very end, and that sergeant, and I was a BAR man. He said, I had 20 rounds, and my assistant clips. My assistant BR had either 6 or 8, and I forgot which. Anyway, he had a little sack of ammunition. I sat there and shot that BR. I didn't know what I was hit, but I was shooting that way. I got it so hot when they give orders to withdraw. That barrel was red hot. I hurried to get away from her. I reached and got the barrel. It stuck to my hand.
Were you pretty badly burned?
I didn't go to a doctor with it. I could have got the bronze or Purple Heart for it, but I didn't go with this foolishness. They stayed still weak, and we pulled back there, and they placed down off them hills. It's steep, and you could sit down, you could scoot to the bottom of it. So instead of trying to walk, that's what we done. We was trying to get out of there, and there's open field down there, just meadow like, where a plane had been shot down. And they started across it from back up on the hill. They opened up a machine gun fire, and 6 of our men got killed there with that machine gun fire. Then next, I had to go across it, but we scattered out. I was hearing one over yonder, up ahead, one over yonder, just scattered. First time it started in a row, We went back and set up where we was at. Then the other time there, had them mopping up on Lady. That's Central Philippines. And we went on, platoon I was in, went on a combat patrol. So we went up, it wasn't too far from where we had set up. I could see some Japs back up there, but no, not shoot at. Come to a tent, and there's a Jap or two in hit, and he come out wanting to give up again. They shot him till his britches fell off of it. Then that little tent light got afar. We passed that up. I called it a coconut grove down on the beach. And we got down there and crossing hit. And Abreu was radio man. He was behind us. And them Japs, I reckon they followed us down there. They opened up behind, they killed him and wounded another. And I laid down the base of far with that BAR to get him out. Jim Kern was the one that got him out. He was a medic, yeah. And to get him out, and that wounded, and I reckon he walked out. But anyway, we couldn't get out. Had to go across a little hump to a beach on beach. And after we got on that, we had to wade water on that beach, that deep, to get out of there. And sent a little boat out to get this one was dead, Ralph Abreu, and that wounded him out. They sent a little boat out there to get him. And then the company, I reckon they called back in, had these battery radios, sent force out to help us out and meet us. But we waited about up to there in the ocean, to get out of there, keep them. They had shooting at us from back up on the hill. We got pinned in there for about an hour or two. Yeah. Then.
Now, what do you remember about the time when you were pinned down? How constant was the fire upon you?
It was about all the time, pinned down.
Were you able to even peek out?
Yeah. We stayed pinned down a pretty good little while. We got out, though. Then.
How did you get out?
Huh?
How did you get out?
I crossed this little hill and went into a beach, got out. That wounded, he said, when I come across that hill, I reckon I went across the fight. He said I rolled a rock off on him. He was on stretchers down there. He told, after he come back to the company later, then left. Yeah. But, yeah. That was about 6. That was on Lady in 45. Had along about his March, I believe it was, and on Lady, the 164th Infantry killed 2,200 Japs on that weapon. I probably I forget how many got killed there. I believe it's 200 or 300 though of our men got killed. It's in that book.
And how long did that battle last?
Huh?
How long did that battle last?
It didn't last too long. I'd say it lasted over a month. That did. That happened on Bougainville, that first one I told you. It lasted nearly a year. Yeah.
Why do you think the number of Americans killed versus Japanese killed was so drastic?
Yeah.
Why do you think?
They estimated them, yeah.
How did y'all manage to kill so many Japanese?
They estimated what they do. they'd go on these patrols, and when they come back of evening, they'd ask them, how many did you kill today? Them fellers, when they'd kill one, they'd make a notch on the butt of a rifle. Some of them killed 18 and 20. I probably shot at 10 close range. Up close, yeah. Don't know how many a long way.
Probably a lot with that BAR.
BAR, yeah. Had to cut a tree down that big. Yeah.
Now, did it seem like the Japanese forces were weakening during Lady?
Yeah. Then we left, we loaded on the boat, went to Fiji Island. Not Fiji, I'm telling you wrong. Cebu. And Mary Cal had made a beachhead on it before we got there. That's the division I was in. And the other two regiments was there. And while we was on the boat, there's people bumming. They called it Bad Day Bridge. And we got off boat. I watched them bum it from there. And while we was on that little old boat, out there in the ocean, I jumped off of it into swimming. Dangerous. Jumped from the top of it to his little top of it into swimming on it. Then crawled back up, yeah. We set up tent there on Cebu, and them Filipinos, they was there. And I got some Raisin Jack. They called it Raisin Jack. Might have got a little high. Anyway, I was cleaning my BAR. And got a Filipino to help me clean it, I forgot what I gave him a little money. I cleaned her and put her all back. I put that magazine in it, sat down, and bullet went out through the top of a tent. It went off. I had a feller out there, a big old feller. He's kind of walking guard, He come in there and don't know who that was. I told him it was me. Them fellas come in all around him, They didn't do a thing. Didn't say another word. Yeah. Then that next morning, we left there and went out. It's kind of a creek, a pretty good sized creek there. Filipinos, we see all, as coming back to Cebu City. I imagine Cebu City's town about like Asheville here only, yeah. We went up that creek and we marched 2 nights right up the middle of the creek of a day. We get out on the side of it, sleep of a day. Them Filipinos, you could hear them going back to town, And we went up, got to just the edge of Baghdad Bridge where I told you there's a bombing. And Japs opened up from the top of it with machine guns. Them tracers, you can see them go through there. It's pretty, but it hit the blow where I was. And that next, we marched around. First sergeant, he's from North Dakota. He come down by me and the platoon sergeant, his name was Shells. First sergeant would come, he was getting out on points and he was leaving there. And he turned around to me, he talked a little while, turned around to me as he left, said, "Don't you let one of them Japs get you." we marched on in up there, and pillboxes out. You could see them, come out of the bank. They was shooting at our motors blank in straight into the pillbox, and they was throwing motors at us and everything else up there. One hit pretty close to where I was at. Then a shell hit. I crawled up to the top of one of them pillboxes. I could see, my machine gun shooting out of it, and I dug a foxhole about 8 or 10 inches deep till I could lay down in it. But about every 10 minutes, that machine gun would open up across that hill there. And I watched, it got about dark. I watched our men try to take that pillbox. You could see them throw a hand grenade. I swear I could shoot directly in it, but I did. I was afraid I'd get killed. And a motor shell went off. I was right on top of the hill, just a little over the hill, and it went off and clod to the dirt, went all over me in that hole, yeah. So about 8 o'clock, orders come to withdraw, so we withdrawed back off of it. The next morning, got up, there wasn't no Japs up, they'd run, yeah. Wasn't no, we marched that day, and no Japs. And along the way, I see a feller, his religion, he hadn't tote no gun, but he was out there without a gun. All the rest had gun and ammunition,
What was his job on the battlefield?
His religion, yeah, didn't believe in.
But what was his job? Was he a medic?
He was in the rifle platoon then. He could have been a medic, so could have been a medic. Them medics, they had a job there. Then we went on to, I'm telling you pretty much all of it. Went on out there and they had out on Cebu out in the Philippines, had caves plumb through these ridges, caves you would walk through them. And we went out, there's 6 Japanese in one of them caves and trying to get them out. We wasn't going to go in there ourselves. Finally got this Filipino. He could talk Japanese, and he got them to get out. I was toting this BAR. They come out with their hands up. I had it right on them. They had motion to take it off of them. And meantime, there's a feller back, he back behind me a pretty good way. He cracked up. He started hollering just as loud as he could holler. This morning he could take. And they sent him back. I never did see him no more. Then that night we went top of where I was telling you there's Bummy. Went to top of it, and that's where we stayed at that night. We didn't dig no foxholes that night though. But there's one Jap come up it. But he went off there flying. You could hear him running from outside. Come to the top, they opened up fire on him.
Were there still a lot of Japanese hiding out?
Yeah. They was back in the hill, and they have caves down there. Women that I reckon the Japs had killed them. They brought dead women out of that cave. It went plumb through it, and it's full of ammunition and full of money. You know where the Japanese made Filipino money? All kinds of hid in there. But they withdrawed us from there, and we went Filipinos. Guerrillas relieved us there, and we went back to Cebu City. Got on a boat there, 26th day of April, 1945. We landed on Negroes Island originally, Negroes Island, and Japanese the Philippine guerrillas, I reckon. You hear them shooting off. You talk about shooting, but they'd land shooting. We waited. They had little boats, you know, would go up and that flap down. We waded water about that deep to get out, and we got out, but it was quiet, you know. We made the beachhead, and from there we headed out to a town down there. The name of it was Dumaguete, and